This is the third video in the bridge design series. This is about creating design surfaces. In this video, we'll look at 3 different methods for building a design surface. So the first method is building your design surface from strings. So I'll just turn on my reference file. It's already got the strings in it. So those strings are coming from a reference file, and I've turned a few levels on and off just to get the strings that I want at the top of the design surface. We don't want strings below the finished surface level. We want them at the top of the finished surface level or the design surface. So I've got those 3 strings there. Now what we want to do is convert that into a mesh. So we toggle to the modeling workflow. I'll select the meshes, use the mesh from points command. We'll tick on keep original because those elements are from a reference file, and we've created our mesh. I'll just turn that reference file off. Now what we need to do is drop that mesh so that it ends up as individual triangles. So we use the drop command. Make sure we've got application elements ticked on and solids is to surfaces. So now that mesh has been dropped, we'll see that they're all individual triangles. Now that surface is ready for use. The next method I'm going to show is fairly similar to the first, but what we want to do is widen out that surface. So I'll just swap into that model. And inside that model, I've already got some strings there. And the first thing we need to do is draw some lines along either edge of the design surface. And the next thing we need to do is set the Z value of those elements to 0. So now we've got those elements at RL0 down below the edge of those strings. Now what we want to do is move those elements parallel 2 meters. So we use the move parallel command, 2 meters. Now what you've just got to be careful of, if you've got AccuDraw running, that it's in top view. So I just hit T for top and the axis will rotate the top. That'll move that element parallel 2 meters in the top view. So select the other edge. I need to put the AccuDraw compass back in top view. And now it's shifted that out 2 meters. Now we can clearly see those 2 lines further out by 2 meters. What we need to do now is load up our extend surface command. So under the CaddPro menu, civil, extend surface. There's a few options here, but the main one is this by using 3 lines. And you can see it's asking for a control line, a match line, then an offset line. So I'll hit process on that. So I hit the control line, I'll hit the match line, hit the offset line, then accept that, and those elements will be placed. You can see them placed over there. So I'll do the same for the other edge now. Control line, match line, offset line, and those elements are being constructed. Now the process is fairly similar as previous, so we can tidy up elements that we don't need. We can get rid of those two lines. Go to our Mesh tab, select those elements, mesh from points. We can tick off that keep original this time, so I can delete those elements straight away. We don't want any other elements left inside the file. Accept that, and that's created another mesh for us. And then it's the same process as previous. We need to drop that mesh back to simple triangles, drop. So I've dropped it. Now we can see that they're all individual triangles. Now that surface is ready. So the next method, our third method, is when we've been provided a terrain. In this case, the terrain's been provided by OpenRoads, and it's in its native terrain format, but we can drop that back to simple triangles with a few steps. So first thing you'll need to do is copy that element into the active file. And I'll turn that reference file off now. So it's turned off. Then it's very similar to previous. All we need to do is use a drop command, application elements, solids. You can leave that one ticked on, and we drop that, and we'll see that it's been dropped back to a mesh now. So it's gone from a terrain back to a mesh. And all we need to do is drop it once more from a mesh back to individual shapes. So it's all ready to use. Now, the one thing that you might need to do is delete any other unwanted elements. So we've got that line string going around the outside edge. We can delete that. So if we do a select all, we should only have shapes inside that model. And now that surface is ready for use. So you might receive data in a few different ways. Hopefully I've covered most of them in this video, but you should be able to combine the various steps that I've shown you here to create a design surface.